Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
All right, next episode of the Worry-Free Retirement. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, Aaron?
Yeah.
I got a struggle here. You've seen the script, Three Personalities of Money? I can't believe this, but I've written the script. I'm having trouble with the opening.
Really?
I'm going blank.
Well, you know what, Tony? I've watched you for 8 years, and I know everything we're going to talk about. Do you mind if I take a crack at it?
Be my guest.
All right, here we go. Hey folks, welcome to the Worry-Free Retirement, and I am America's favorite financial sidekick, Aaron Orander. And today, Tony's going to be sharing with you his breakthrough concept of the 3 personalities of money and why you need to better understand the financial personality you are before ever investing your money. So stay tuned. How's that?
This guy's good.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and 4-time author, Tony Walker.
There's a well-known speaker who one day became ill and unable to deliver that night's speech to a large crowd of over 500 attendees. Upon mentioning this to his chauffeur quickly responded, "Heck, I've heard that speech 100 times. I could give it for you." To which the speaker quickly said, "Well, let's do it." So the two switched clothing. The chauffeur changed into the man's best suit, while the speaker put on the clothes of the chauffeur. Now, after the chauffeur delivered a wonderful speech to the audience, he did something the speaker had never done before. He asked the audience if there were any questions. Quickly, a man in the front row stood up and asked the chauffeur a question, to which the chauffeur responded, "Sir, with all due respect, that's really a stupid question. In fact, it's so stupid, I'm going to have my chauffeur in the back of the room answer it for you." Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. And while America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander, is really good at making introductions about financial concepts, he's probably not the best prospect for answering questions about them, which is why today I will cover in great detail the most important thing you should know about yourselves before ever investing money, and that is your financial personality. You see, after working in the financial trenches, I began to notice that savers were investing too much of their money in things they did not understand, and worse yet, contained too much risk. Graduating in 1983 from Western Kentucky University and armed with a degree in psychology, some 15 years ago, I decided to return to my old alma mater and seek the help of 2 psychology professors to assist me in creating an accurate way to determine if someone's personality was that of a saver, investor, or speculator. I called it the 3 personalities of money. And today, I'm going to show you how this simple 5-minute quiz that's helped together with creating with these professors can help you better determine your own financial personality and which products are right for you. So I'm Tony Walker. You stay tuned. You're watching the Worry-Free Retirement. We'll be right back.
Now remember folks, when you roll over your 401k with us, you get a 15% bonus. How's that sound?
That sounds too good to be true.
Come on, don't you trust me?
What are your fees?
That is a great question, and we'll get to that after we roll over the 401k.
I think we need to get a second opinion.
Don't get stuck in the wrong annuity. Get a second opinion from TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker, and our subject today deals with knowing thyself and how to avoid the one-size-fits-all approach offered by the financial world. You see, the financial world is not stupid. They know that most savers cannot wade through all of the choices they offer, so their response is to create an approach to investing that is, well, one size fits all. Yet in our heart of hearts, as we record this show on May 3rd, 2022, and watch our 401k plans in a free fall, we know that there cannot be a one-size-fits-all approach to safeguarding more of our money. So how do savers avoid falling into this one-size-fits-all approach to money in retirement? Well, it's not by having more choices, like this poor saver who recently asked me to review all of his confusing 401k choices offered by his employer-sponsored 401k plan. No, the key to a worry-free retirement is actually less choices. Let's turn to my granddad for the answer, for instance, to this, who in 1978 retired after 43 years with a phone company. Now, while Granddad didn't take our 3 personalities of money quiz to determine his financial personality, I can assure you he was a saver through and through. He knew exactly what he wanted and how much money he required to be content in retirement, and that included few choices in his investments and the things he spent money on. He didn't have to choose which investments to invest in his 401k plan because he didn't have one. He had mailbox money. He didn't have to choose over the many different vehicles to drive because he liked VW Beetles. In fact, he had a red one, an orange one, and a black one, which on my 16th birthday, he handed over to me. He only had 3 TV channels to choose from. The only place he and Hazel liked to eat was Long John Silver's. They also only spent about $5 on coffee, not on a cup of coffee, but on a pound of coffee at Winn-Dixie about once a week. They had 1 TV, 1 phone, no internet, and no gadgets and gizmos. In summary, fewer choices for Granddad meant less worry about money, and you guessed it, less worry about retirement. So as we fast forward to the year 2022, how can we keep our choices to a minimum and, more importantly, make sure that the investments we choose are best suited for our financial personalities? It's called the 3 Personalities of Money Profile. Now, this is a 5-minute quiz that myself and 2 professors at Western Kentucky University spent a lot of time and money on to create. And what I thought I would do is kind of go through and show you how this quiz works. Now, again, let me preface this. If you would like to take this quiz, all you got to do is go to 3personalities.com. It's absolutely free, takes about 5 minutes. There's no catches, there's no gimmicks, we're not going to call you, but I'm telling you, you need to understand whether you're a saver, investor, or speculator before you ever invest money. So let's kind of go through this. It's going to look like this when you go to the 3personalities.com website. Now what we did, we kind of went on and answered the questions. This is kind of how I would answer questions because I'm a saver. So for instance, notice the first question here. If given the choice between high risk, high yield investments, or given the choice between low risk investments, I would choose the latter. Now in this case, I put strongly agree. Now again, I've got a few risky investments, but that was not the question. The question was, if given a choice, would you invest in high risk or low risk? And as we're going to see in a minute, Wall Street would say, well, you need to do both. And that's really goofy. But anyway, I would take strongly agree. Here's a good one, number 3, for instance. And again, folks, this was scientifically researched. These professors of psychology helped me. This is not a gimmick. It's really trying to help people understand their financial personality. This particular one says if I had a windfall gain, that would be like a bonus or an inheritance or something like that, I would put that money back into a venture that I felt had a lot of upside potential or put it in a safe option. Let's see, rather than placing a safe option. No, I put disagree, yeah. So you got to read that carefully. No, I would not want to put it in a venture that would create risk. I would want it in a safe option. Go to the next page, Derek. We're just kind of going through these. And then you'd click next. You got some other ones. Here's another one. I enjoy analyzing buying decisions based on research. Another thing I've discovered over the years, savers know what they want. They don't want 40 different options, and they don't want to spend a lot of time on research. They want to be given 1 or 2 options that make sense for them, that suit their financial personality, and then they have the ability to choose. And as we're going to see in the next segment, this is why the split IRA concept is so successful at Tony Walker Financial, because we're limiting all the research that investors in Wall Street are wanting savers to do, which they don't want to do. Let's go to the next page, Derek. We're kind of progressing through. Yeah, I think this is the last page. Again, it doesn't take long. Here's a good one. The expression no risk, no reward definitely fits me. That would be strongly disagree. Again, I don't want to take a whole lot of risk in my planning. And then what you would do here is hit next. So let's go ahead and hit the next button. And as you can see here, it just quickly takes you and explains to you what the results of the test are. In this case, it would be predominantly a saver. So you say, okay, well, that's all well and good, Tony. What do I do with this information? If I take this test, or if I already know, maybe you're sitting there saying, I don't even need to take that test, Tony. I'm like that Will Rogers you're always talking about. I'm more concerned about the return of my money than on it. So how can we go about understanding what you need to do to safeguard more of your money and to help you sleep better at night with those 401ks that currently are going down in value? I'm Tony Walker. Good stuff coming your way. You're watching the Worry-Free Retirement. I'll be right back. Do you own an annuity purchased prior to 2015? If so, you may be missing out on the many benefits that modern-day annuities can offer. You know, over the years, things have certainly changed in the world of finance, and guess what? Annuities have too. To learn more about the modern-day annuities we offer at Tony Walker Financial, why don't you log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started, or call the toll-free number on your screen. Our Live Well, Die Broke moment actually features me. There I am at my mom's house there eating a piece of luscious bacon. Remember, folks, life is too short to eat cheap bacon. But anyway, it actually features an article that my book appeared in. This was in the Wall Street Journal back in November of 2020. And it refers to this notion that not just myself, but other people are kind of understanding that you've got to spend this money before it's too late. And that's what Live Well, Die Broke deals with and the concepts we use. Oh, by the way, speaking of the book, it's done very well, folks, and you can order a copy at any major booksellers. That'd be Amazon or Barnes & Noble, and I think you'll be glad you did. It'll share the philosophy of how to use and enjoy your money before it's too late. And also, we haven't brought up the idea of the $50 free gift card. That's right, you can send your photos to Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com if you've got an interesting Live Well, Die Broke photo. If we select your photo to appear on air, that's right, you'll get a $50 gift card. So if you have anything of interest, just send it to Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. All right, let's go to Tony in the Trenches. Boy, this is an interesting one. It's going to lead into the rest of our program. Good stuff coming up. You need to watch this closely. All right, the question. I'm 60 years of age and have always considered myself a saver. However, over the years, I've done well by investing my 401k in the stock market, but now, as I approach retirement, I'm getting very nervous. Should I be moving out of the stock market or just hang in there? And let's see if we can answer that question from Rob of Elizabethtown. Okay, here's the problem, Rob. It's called the Rule of 100, and it uses your age as a baseline in the calculation to appropriately allocate assets. This thing's been around forever. It's a calculation and it goes something like this, all right? It's a one-size-fits-all deal, and as you're going to see, this is ludicrous to follow this. What it assumes, you take the number 100 minus your age, and whatever that number is, that's the number you're supposed to put in stocks. Not too scientific if you ask me. So let's take a look at how this would work. So let's say I'm age 60. That means your 401k should have 40% in the stock market. Now let's stop right there. Right now, as we record this show on May 3rd, 2022, the stock market is heading south. This person's probably nearing retirement. I can't imagine why that person would want to have that much in stock just because somebody gave them some rule of thumb and a one-size-fits-all. Well, let's keep going. And then it goes to age 70. So in this example, now I don't have many 70-year-olds that won 30% of their money in the stocks unless they're an investor or speculator. Remember, we're talking about savers here. To put 30% of your money in stocks and being 70 years of age, I probably wouldn't do that. So let's go to the next thing they've come up with, and this is really interesting. So Wall Street is worried because more and more people are living longer. So what did they do? They're now encouraging people to have more in the stock market. This is crazy because now they're saying, well, let's take 120 minus your age, and that'll be the percentage in stocks. So let's go through this, Derek. So that same 60-year-old, now keep in mind how risky the stock market is. This person's probably nearing retirement. Well, they need 60% in the stock market because they'll live longer. Do we have any more calculations on that, Derek? Yeah, we go to 70. Now a 70-year-old is supposed to have 50% of their money in the stock market. So folks, what I'm saying here is this makes no sense because the longer you live, all the more reason you're going to want something in place that guarantees, this is not guaranteed, folks, that guarantees you won't run out of money. I hope this makes sense. And that's why we have come up with what I call the split IRA concept. Oh, incidentally, there's an interesting article. What happens is, we're getting ready to see this, all the folks that are talking on Wall Street, that balance, you might say, yeah, Tony, okay, if I put 40% in the market, where's that balance supposed to go? Is it going to go in a safe place? Well, in the past, we used bonds. But here's what's happening. Not only is the stock market going down, but for one of the first times I can remember in my 38 years, the bond market is crashing. So bonds are not the option either. So this whole rule of 100 or rule of 120, relying on bonds to be the safety net, is proving to be a disaster for savers. So what's the option? Well, let's take a look. Got my cheat notes here. Got to keep these handy. And what I'm going to do is share with you what we call the piece of the pie. Now, there's two options you have. If you have a 401k, IRA, or some money to invest, you can either go to Wall Street, use this rule of 100 or now rule of 120 and see what happens and risk more of your money, or you can come over to TWF, that's Tony Walker Financial, and enjoy what we call our proprietary split IRA process. So kind of let's look at the risk here and the philosophy. Let's imagine that each person has a $500,000 401k and they're getting ready to retire, and Wall Street says, oh, okay, well, what we're going to do, let's say you're 60 years of age or whatever. In fact, actually, yeah, I'll use 60. So remember, the rule of 100, actually, we'd take 120, wouldn't we? That's what they're using now. So this person's going to put 60% of their money in the stock market. So we'd kind of divide that up. Let's say that's roughly 60% here. So that would mean that you would have basically 40% in bonds. Now here's the problem. Let's imagine, because bonds are going down too, let's kind of be Mr. Bad News here. Let's say this thing goes down 20%. Well, 20% loss of $500,000 means you're going to have a $100,000 loss. Now think about this. That might be okay if you're 40 years of age, but a $100,000 loss when you're getting ready to retire is pretty scary stuff. Well, you say, well, Tony, what do you all do? Do you have this much money in the stock market? Well, first of all, if you're a saver, there's no way I'm going to take that much money. What would that be? 60% of that? That's $300,000. Yeah, $300,000 and put it in the stock market. Then we used a lot of bonds. We're starting to pull back from bonds because of the interest rate risk of those. And what we're doing instead, we're coming over, and maybe in this example, not always, but we might put 70% in what's called fixed annuities, because here's the beauty of this, and we've got articles that prove this. A fixed indexed annuity or fixed interest annuity is not subject to stock market risk, nor like bonds is it subject to something called interest rate risk, because here's what's happening. As the Fed is starting to raise these interest rates, bond values are going down. And we've tried to communicate this to our clients, but by the way, some of you clients watching this right now, be sure to contact us if we need to review things. We try to stay on top of this, but these bond values are going down pretty quickly, and we're starting to substitute some of those bonds for fixed annuities. Why? Because they are not affected by these interest rates if they continue to go up. You're going to get whatever you get, and you're not going to lose anything. Now, we might come over here and actually have some money right now in cash. I know you're not going to make any money on cash. That would be cash equivalents. But I like to say, hey, at least the cash is not going down. It's not as volatile. Even if you make 0% in this market, I'd say zero's your hero, the way I would look at it. And then finally, we might have 20% in the stock market, okay? So let's imagine we did this. Over here, in this example, you're losing about $100,000 on your portfolio if the market drops 20%. Well, what if the stock market and the bond market drops 20% here? Well, you've got to remember, none of this is exposed. Only 20% is exposed. 20% of 500 is 100,000. So 100,000 times a 20% loss. Granted, we're going to lose some money too, but I don't know about you. If I'm 60 years of age, I would rather lose 20,000 than 100,000. And you might say, Tony, I don't know, like the thought of losing any of that. Well, that's why we need to talk. Folks, at Tony Walker Financial, we are an independent fiduciary. Our job is to go in and analyze your retirement, not based on some goofy formula, but based on your specific financial personality. So if you're a saver, if you're that person that's more concerned about the return of your money than on it, if it's been a while since you've reviewed things, maybe you're retiring soon, or here's a good one, if you're over the age of 59 and a half, In many cases, even though you're still working and contributing to a 401k, you can roll that 401k over to our process, our split IRA process, to try to safeguard more of that money. And more importantly, I've saved the best for last, get what we call, and what my granddad had, mailbox money. And this is what I call the big kahuna. Think about this, folks. You've got all of this risk over here. I do agree with Wall Street. We don't know how long you're going to live. And many of you are now taking more and more risks trying to offset the effects of living longer. That's the opposite of what you should be doing. What you should be considering is something like this, because if you want to, some of these annuities can be put into what's called an income product, or what I like to call mailbox money. So how does that work, Tony? Well, down the road, if you ever take some of these annuities and kick in what we call mailbox money, that insurance company backing that annuity is guaranteeing, I'm going to use the word guarantee, this is not investing, this is guaranteeing that your money will last as long as you do. So if you don't have anything like this, if you're getting nervous about today's stock market, if you're wondering why bond prices are going down, if you feel like nobody's really in your corner and you're tired of all these goofy rules of thumb and you want something concrete, you want some guarantees, you want some of that mailbox money, why don't you do this right now? Why don't you log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com. When you get there, it's really easy to do. You just click on the Let's Get Started, and we are going to start with a free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. And then if it warrants, we'll be happy to meet with you in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. Also, what you can do is just simply call the toll-free number on your screen, and again, we can arrange a phone call to see how we might be of help to you. Well, what does the Bible say about this whole one-size-fits-all approach and choices and things we can do to kind of give us a little more control and quit fretting and fuming and grumbling about our circumstances? It's got some great stuff coming up. You stay tuned. Let me give you another cup of coffee. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. So you've worked 30 or 40 years slaving away at work so you can save away money into your 401k, and now you arrive at the biggest financial decision you're ever going to make, where to invest your 401k plan. Think about it. For all these years, you've had a steady paycheck, compliments from your employer for all of your hard work that you dedicated to them. But now, all of a sudden, you've got to figure out how to replace that paycheck with the money you've been saving. No wonder you're worried about what to do and who to trust with that money, which is why we at Tony Walker Financial are providing a brand new free service called the 10-Minute Fiduciary Phone Call. And here's how simple it is to learn more about our services and our 401k rollover process. First, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Once there, click on the Let's Get Started button. You'll be taken to a page. Confidentially, you can fill out your information on the screen and then click below the best way for us to speak together. It could either be myself or one of our other trained fiduciaries. It's that easy. So what are you waiting for? Before you make a rash decision and blindly turn your money over to a complete stranger to invest, consider a name and a firm you can trust, Tony Walker Financial. And, oh, by the way, if you like, you can give us a call to speak to us at any time by phone by simply calling the toll-free number on your screen. I'll look forward to speaking with you soon.
Now remember, when you roll over your money to us from your 401k, you get a free 15% bonus.
Free money? That sounds too good to be true.
No, there's no catch.
So, what are your fees?
No. Not fee, free.
What do you think?
I think we need a second opinion.
Don't get stuck in the wrong annuity. Get a second opinion from TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Ever felt weary over the many choices offered up by the world to choose from? Webster's defines weary as exhausted in strength, endurance, vigor, or freshness. And while one might argue that more choices is a good thing, I tend to believe that more choices can sometimes lead to more worry and more weariness. I call the worry that results from too many choices the wonderful world of weariness. And since most savers cannot crack the code of wading through the many choices offered by the financial world has created an approach that is even worse, One-size-fits-all concepts called the Rule of 100, or now, assuming savers are good with taking even more risk with their retirement savings, the Rule of 120. As a result of blindly wandering around and risking money, most savers do what all humans do when entering the wonderful world of weariness. They begin to grumble. Check it out in Numbers 14:2, where the Bible describes the Israelites, who God had just delivered from the bondage of slavery from Egypt, a newfound freedom of wandering around in the desert following Moses. During their limited choices, instead of being content and thankful for their freedom, they begin to think there's something better and desire better choices and begin to grumble to Moses, saying the following: "Would that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would that we had died in this wilderness?" Yet, grumbling during times of heartache, affliction, and aimless wandering around in unknown territory can affect even the best of Christians. The question is, why would a God that loves us so much and provide us so much freedom allow us to experience so many afflictions and struggles? Maybe it's because if He did not, we might forget the true source of our hope and our strength. In Matthew 11:28, Jesus reminds those of us who are weary from the struggles and choices we make to not rely on the world for relief, but rather to bring our world of weariness to Him. For only He and He alone is willing and able to handle them. The great preacher and theologian Charles Spurgeon sums it up best where he says, "Be content to walk your weary way through the fields of poverty or up the hills of affliction. For before long you shall reign with Christ, for He has made us kings and priests to God, and we shall reign forever and ever." To which I would say, amen to that. So let me ask you a question. Is the one-size-fits-all products and sales pitches costing you money? Are you ready to find out what your true financial personality really is and how God has specifically wired you for money and how best to worry less about it? Well, my name is Tony Walker, and for the past 38 years, I've made it my life's mission to help savers worry less about money, and we do that through our proprietary split IRA concept. A concept that tosses out the old notion of the Rule of 100 or the new notion of the Rule of 120 for that matter, but instead creates a game plan that is more simple and safe and one that allows you to use and enjoy your money before it's too late. So to learn more about our process, it's really easy to do, and best of all, it's free. You can do so in one of two ways. First, you can log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com, and once there, simply click on that Let's Get Started button. Now what you can do is you can arrange a free 10-minute fiduciary phone call where myself or one of my highly trained salaried fiduciaries will find out how we can try to help you. Then, if it warrants, we'll be happy to set up a personal one-on-one appointment. That's right, you can meet with the owner of the company at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. Or if the internet's not your thing, simply call the toll-free number on your screen and we'll be happy to talk with you more about your specific situation. Well, we hope you've enjoyed today's program. Next week on the Worry-Free Retirement, I'm going to talk to you more about this whole issue of control and gaining more control when everything else seems to be spinning out of it. But in the meantime, you remember between now and then, if all else fails, you be worry-free. You make it a good one.